Food Day is not only about celebrating the amazing food that people have the privilege of indulging in, but it is about raising awareness for people who don't have such privilege. The theme for World Food Day 2022 is Leave No One Behind. Leave no one behind finds us with an ongoing pandemic conflicts, a climate that won't stop warming, rising prices, and international crisis. This is affecting global food security. Food security exists when all people at all times have physical and economic access to sufficient, safe, and nutritious food that meets their dietary needs and food preferences for an active and healthy life. So, we need to build a sustainable world where everyone everywhere has regular and enough nutritious food. Let us start this event with a devotional song by third year food technology girls by Maunika, Shushmita and Ashwini. स्मरामि महागणपतिं स्मरामि महादेवसुतं महादेवसुतं गुरुगुहनुतं मानकोटि प्रकाशं शान्तं महाकाव्यनाटकादिप्रियं मूषिकवाहनमोदकप्रियं महागणपतिं मनसा स्मरामि महागणपतिं मनसा स्मरामि वसिष्ठवामदेवादिवन्दितमहागणपतिम्
మామూలుగా క్లాప్స్ కొట్టు.
Thank you. Now, I would like to invite Vijeta from third year food technology to present a classical dance performance. Thank you, Vicheta, for your gorgeous performance. Now, the time has arrived to add some dignity to our dais. I take a pleasure to invite our head of the department, Dr. D. Neeraja ma'am, onto the dais. Next, I would like to invite Deputy Head of the Department, Professor M. Venkateshwar Rao sir, onto the dais. I would like to invite CSE Head of the Department, Dr. Sheikh Neeraja ma'am, onto the dais. Next, I take this privilege to invite our Honorable and dignified Vice Principal, Dr. C. Subhas sir, onto the dais. I request all the dignitaries to come up on the dais and light the lamp and enlighten the audience with your precious words. I would like to invite Mechanical Head of the Department, Dr. V. Nagaprasad Naidu sir, onto the dais. I take pleasure to invite our Head of the Department, Mrs. Neerja ma'am, to please come onto the dais and address the gathering.
Respected Vice Principal, heads of the department, faculty, staff, and my dear students. Good afternoon to one and all. I think my voice is audible to you. So you all know that October 16th is celebrated as World Food Day, and yesterday being Sunday, we could not conduct, and today we are planning to. We have planned to celebrate this food day, and you know the theme of this day, which is leave no one behind. The motto of celebrating this World Food Day is to enjoy the privileges of people who are having adequate food with healthy diet, and at the same time to find the solutions for the people who are starving. If you observe the people in our country and of course throughout the globe, most of the people are in starvation. And you observe the wastage of food one side, so much of food has been wasted in every function, and now people got awareness to use that food and supply that food to the needy. And here, this theme, especially for this 2022, is to overcome the crisis due to pandemic. Pandemic has left the footsteps of crisis in the form of economical issue, financial issue, and other issues, which ultimately lead to the shortage of food. So, to address this issue, this day is celebrated every year to mark the needs of the people who are in need of food, and at the same time to follow the healthy diets. Nowadays, people are working in rooms without any physical exercise. They are not following proper diet, which ultimately reflects their health in all the ways. Physically, they are not strong. Ultimately, it will reflect the mental stability. In order to overcome this, we have to follow healthy diet, plan the schedule of taking food as per the timing to avoid many problems such as gastric problems, heart diseases, and so on and so forth. And at the same time, to educate the people to take pure food. I think you understood why I have used the pure food. We are not taking pure food in any manner. The water which we are taking is polluted. Rice which we are taking is polluted. Vegetables, everything is polluted. So in this juncture, it is the duty of food technologists to create awareness to solve the problem of this food like pollution or adulteration, and to give best food to the society. Now your role has become more across the globe, and now the coming world may be yours, because whatever we are doing is to get food. So all the five fingers should go into our mouth. So this is the duty of the food technologists, and I hope we will come out with good solution in the coming days. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am, for your valuable words. I take this privilege to invite Jubilee Head of the Department, Professor M. Venkateshwar Rao, sir, to come up on the dais and speak few words.
Good afternoon, one and all. Well, good to see you all, especially the gathering only for the technology. Anyway, it's a good initiative. I don't know whether it was happened last year or not. But I don't know. I was missed on that. With regard to the day you are celebrating, first and foremost duty is to take care about what Madam said, whether it is happening in your hostels, respective hostels or not. Let us start your initiation from there. How much is getting wasted and how much is actually utilizing, and accordingly, whatever you study has to be utilized for the society. It is not for the sake of our family to get some salary or something. So, in respect of society, to be considered into the main factor. In what way I can contribute to the society, being as my technical competence. That we need to think everyone. And also this year, whether it is, I think from this first year onwards, 50% of the admission through biology background. So only 30 from food technology are from mathematics background, and the remaining 30 from biology background. So definitely they are also going to add a flowers to your technical competency and try to utilize the resources and try to prove yourself as being as a unique degree. Thank you and all the very best.
Thank you, sir, for your valuable words. I take pleasure to invite Mechanical Head of the Department, Dr. V. Nagaprasad Naidu, sir, to please come onto the dais and share few valuable words on this event.
Our beloved Vice Principal, Professor C. Subhash sir, and other head of the department, and my dear colleagues and dear students. Good afternoon, everybody. And I think before COVID, food food technology student have organized same program, and on that day I think they have prepared some biscuits and distributed to all. I can remember that. Madam, this time I think have you prepared? Right. Okay. So as you are all students of this college, and we feel like our children, whatever you prepare, no doubt we will take. Whatever you will prepare, that we take and we taste, and definitely we appreciate you. Other side, uh, living things, oxygen is most important. Without oxygen, even we can say minute of time, it is difficult to live. And the next to oxygen, water. Water, definitely at least 1 or 2 hours without water you can live, but it is difficult more than 2 3 hours without having water. And then same way next, that is food. Food, that is the most important after oxygen and water. So that every living thing, anybody who is living on earth, definitely without food it is difficult to live. So everybody required food, and definitely as a engineering students, maybe food technology or other students, how to produce, how to provide sufficient food to all, not only quantity, quality of food, quality that may be hygienic, maybe good strength, so whatever the thing that may be. So providing such a food to all. Another side, due to these climatic conditions, 1 year we can find very good rains, 1 year no rains, maybe other some years that we can see heavy rains. Due to that heavy rains, also no crops, and like that happening almost all in the history. If we take 25%, definitely that will be a drought. 25% okay, 25% heavy rains. So like that, the statistics that will say. So whatever it may be, whether there will be rain or not, food that we required, otherwise without food living, that will be difficult. So the technology which we are using, so that has to provide the food to all the time. That is the thing. And especially India, most of the people, you can say almost 70% depend on agriculture sector, agriculture feed, and due to these heavy rains or no rains, agriculture sector that is suffering a lot, and even we can see suicide of farmers. And this is also one issue where we need to work, and we have to make this agriculture as a profit sector. Profit sector, because 70% maybe directly or indirectly depending on agriculture sector. Once due to whatever, if there is no profit, definitely nobody will come towards that agriculture sector. So that definitely when that agriculture sector fails, definitely there will be food crisis. So there always success that should be there. Whenever we use the technology that helps to produce or to have better yielding, right? So that where you are working towards the technology, and definitely so here as our Venkateswara sir said that, so there is from this year onwards even 30 students from BPC background, so that 30 plus 30 MPC students and 30 BPC students. So you can both can work together and can develop methods or maybe some techniques, and even not only students of food technology, even you can also combine with other branch students, electronics, electrical students, and like that you can do different projects to develop different techniques or methods, and even not only with the students of our college, government polytechnic that is adjacent opposite to our college, and even agriculture polytechnic college is also there in Kalikiri, so that you can work with them, and especially they are directly working on crop production. Agriculture polytechnic students are working directly on crop production, so that if you interact with them and if you work combinedly with them, definitely no doubt you can develop your own knowledge, and same way you can develop different methods where it helps to produce uh, uh, required food to all. And even so, as a food technology students, not only developing techniques or maybe food related technology, working on food related technologies, and even to others, what is good food? Good food means definitely which is required for good health. Balanced diet, usually dietitians will say balanced diet. So what food they have to take as a breakfast, as a lunch, as a dinner, other time. So like that, overall, whatever our body required to provide such a food. So like that, awareness that you can create that maybe by your own, or as you may have contacts with the persons who are directly working in food industry, so that that helps a lot to other students. So in this way you can work, my dear students, really. So I'm happy to come to this program and same way addressing on this occasion, and I thank HOD of food technology, Professor Neeraja madam, and other staff members, both the teaching and non-teaching department of food technology, and all the students. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Next, I take a pleasure to invite CSC Head of the Department, Dr. Sheikh Nazira Ma'am, to please come onto the dais and share valuable words on this event.
Respected Vice Principal Sir, Boss Sir, other HODs of the departments, teaching and non-teaching staff, and my dear students. Good afternoon, one and all. So first of all, I congratulate our entire food technology department students and faculty members and your HOD ma'am for organizing this event, that is World Food Day 2022. And as the theme of the World Food Day is leave no one behind. Leave no one behind means there is something like there is a scarcity. So we should see how this scarcity is coming from. So nowadays, one of the main reason for the increase of price in whatever provisions we are purchasing to our house, that is especially oils and wheat and all these things. So when you observe that because of the war between this Russia and Ukraine, so these prices are increased. The reason is most of the production of this oil and wheat is from Ukraine country only. So because of the war, they are not able to produce. So ultimately, whichever countries they are the suppliers from Ukraine, they are suffering. So because of that, the prices are increasing high. And at the same time, India also, they are banned this exporting of the wheat and all, because they don't want to face this food scarcity problem in India. So there is a scarcity somewhere in the globe, means it is not that it is a problem of only that particular country. So it is the entire world's problem. Okay, so therefore we should be very cautious in using the food in an appropriate way. We should see that. So there should not be any food wastage. So this should start from us. Okay, from us, from each and every individual, and from our house, and from our hostel, and from our village, from our town, like that. We should see that there is no such wastage of food happens in our premises. Okay, so normally, if you see, if we organize any functions, marriages, lot of food is getting wasted. Okay, so in the previous, before some 10 years like that, no one is taking care of that waste of food wastage. Now some welfare organizations in the recent time, they have come forward and they have kept some stalls and mobile stations like that. So they are acquiring this unwanted food from the people, and they are supplying unwanted food to the needy people who are across the different places. So in that way, they are trying to move the food from waste from the unwanted place to the needy place. So this is a very good idea, and we should see that if we have any waste, unwanted food or food, like not only unwanted food, so even clothes also. Some orphanages are there, so they are taking the used clothes. Okay, so if you are not, we will be buying the clothes more oftenly, but sometimes we may not use some clothes. In that time, what we have to do, we have to donate it to the orphanages. So in that way, so whatever we don't want, so we try to donate it in a, so that it will be used in an appropriate form. So that is my suggestion, to see that everyone should have this habit of donating not only food, not only clothes. You also have the habit of donating some amount from your pocket money, so through to the charities. So nowadays donating the money to charities is very easy. If you just keep on browsing, you are getting so many announcements, so many advertisements from like Save the Children, okay, Kid to Impact Guru, like that. So many organizations, welfare organizations, they are taking some donations and for the benefit of the people, children, whoever is needed badly that amount. So in that way, so have the habit of donating at least 100 rupees from your pocket. So that will be very good. Okay, that is also another my advice, suggestion, because people who are in fourth year, they are going to immediately, they will be joining in some company, okay, after their graduation. So try to have this habit right from the first year, from the first month of your salary. That will be a good human mentality. So this is again another thing I would like to tell. So finally, I thank you for giving me this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for your valuable suggestions. Next, I take this privilege and invite our Honorable and Dignified Vice Principal, Dr. C. Subhash sir, onto the dais and address the gathering.
In charge of the Department of Food Technology, Dr. Neerija, Professor Venkateshwara, Head of the Triple Department, Professor Nagaprasad, Head of Mechanical Engineering, Professor Nazira Madam, Head of CS Department, students, colleagues, good afternoon. If you just browse through internet, you know what all the days celebrated in India, at least more or less in every month, at least there are 10 days to celebrate, just to browse once. And in October, we celebrate, I mean, there are days which are 21 plus days are celebrated in October. On 15th, we celebrated Dr. Abdul Kalam's birthday. Then, Global World Students Day, Global Hand Washing Day. Like that, many, I mean, to my knowledge, about 200 days are occupied for celebrating various things, if you see the calendar. And one of such days is this World Food Day. At the outset, I congratulate the Department of Food Technology for celebrating this day.
And every day will, I mean, the day celebrated has great significance. Just like that, it is not named, it is World, Food Day or something like that. Father's Day, Mother's Day, and so many days are there. You being a student should know the importance of a very day celebrated. What is it? World Food Day has a lot of significance. I mean, you should be aware what food is supposed to take, healthy food, what you should not take. At the same time, you have to educate the people who do not know that. Okay. In the college, we have 6 departments at least. Food technology students should be very healthy and happy. Okay, and you have to educate other students what to take, what not to take. And in couple of programs, I was suggesting that whatever samples you prepare in the laboratories, food samples, why don't you have a counter, just you sell it and generate a little bit of revenue for the department also. Okay, and I mean this World Food Day is to make aware, what to take, what not to take, what you can do on this day. You can donate, to food charities, so that that will be, in turn sent to the people who are starving for the food. Okay, I mean, you suppose not to waste food. I mean, whether at home or in hostels or you go to the function, you take as much as you can eat. You take those items you wish to eat, not that you take many things in a lot of quantities and ultimately half of them you waste. I mean, wastage, it is produced, but you are wasting it. And the country, many, I mean, in the world, many countries are starving for food, especially South African countries. Okay? And you have to realize, who are starving and what we can do from our side in the form of donations and so on. Okay? So once again, I congratulate all of you and have a good day. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now, I would like to invite Shrikant from third year of technology to present a speech on history of food and agriculture organization.
Good afternoon, respected dignitaries and students present here. This is Brahma Srikant from third year Food Technology. Today I would like to share a few views about the history of Food and Agriculture Organization. So before going to know about the Food and Agriculture Organization, I would like to say about the International Institute of Agriculture. It was founded by David Dubin in 1905 to improve the production of agriculture and to improve uh, the production. So during 1905 to 1945, there is an enormous increase in the production of agriculture. And during 1945, that is during the days of Second World War, there is a growing recognition for the increasing of nutritious food. So during 1945, Dr. Franklin D. Roosevelt, the President of United States, came up with an idea to set up a permanent building for the Food and Agriculture Organization. During Second World War, more than 60 million people were died. In that 60 million people, more than one-third of the people were died due to the unhealthy diet and hunger. So because of this, so many people came up with an idea to set up a permanent building for the Food and Agriculture Organization. In 1945, an interim commission formed to prepare the constitution for Food and Agriculture Organization. This interim commission came up with a constitution on 16th October 1945. It was signed by the 34 countries and the United States to improve the quality of food and health of the people. So in 1945, on 16th October, 34 nations signed, and within 2 weeks, more than 8 nations joined the FAO. Thank you.
Thank you, Shrikant. Now I would like to invite Satvika from third year Food Technology to present a brief profile on Honorable Chief Guest Dr. D.J. Rao, sir.
Good afternoon to one and all. I am Satvika from Food Technology, third year.
Now I would like to invite Pujita from second year Food Technology to come up on the dais and deliver speech on importance of World Food Day.
Respected Vice Principal Sir, the Chief Guest Dr. D.G. Rao Sir, and various head of the departments, a very cool good afternoon. Teaching staff, non-teaching staff, good afternoon. And my dear students and my dear friends, my best wishes to you. Yesterday is the World Food Day, and World Food Day is celebrated every year on 16th October, and it is sorry. World Food Day is celebrated to commemorate the date of to commemorate the date of to commemorate the date of founding United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization in 1945. It is the date to we the food technology people are less in number, so we have to create awareness among people that food technology is also a branch which have plenty of opportunities. And the main aim of celebrating this old food day is to create awareness among people who are suffering from hunger. And the second thing is to create awareness among people about healthy diet for all. For hunger, the causes are poverty, etc. Thank you for giving this opportunity.
Thank you, Pujita. I would like to call Rahul, fourth Food Technology, onto the dais to give a speech on importance of food in everyone's life.
నాకు నేను కలపట్లేదు అది కూర్చుని Professor S.V. Satyanarayana Garu, Principal of the JNTU College, and also to the other faculty members, Professor Neeraja, and the faculty of food technology, for giving me an opportunity to make a presentation on the topic on this World Food Day. It's indeed a great pleasure for me to have been associated with JNTU College as well as in making the presentation on this. Deliberately, I have chosen the topic as food processing, a solution to combat hunger. I did not want to talk more about the World Food Day theme and all that because it has already been, I think, much dealt by quite a good number of speakers before me, and you also can get a lot of information on this. So I have chosen the topic as food processing, a solution for mitigating and reducing the hunger. Hunger, by definition, we can say is lack of food or non-availability of the food at the time, at the right time. So naturally, when your stomach needs food by producing all the bile acids, you require to satiate the hunger. So if you do not satiate the hunger, then what happens is it results in malnutrition. That means your nutritional status will get affected. Once you get the malnutrition, it leads to illness. And once the illness is set in, it leads further to the chronic illness. The chronic illness will further lead to a large number of body deficiencies, finally result in body dysfunction. So now my plan here is to see how far the food processing can mitigate the hunger. That means how far we can make the foods available to all the vulnerable section of the society. The malnutrition can be in two ways. One is the protein deficiency, and the other one is, of course, is energy deficiency. And these two issues were very well addressed by CFTRI. Here I would like to take a small amount of time to tell about the CFTRI. See, in the early 1960s and maybe early 1960s, I suppose, CFTRI has come out with the products called as the energy food and then the pौष्टिक food. It is something like it's a product made out of wheat flour, Bengal gram, that is chana dal, and then sugar or jaggery, etc. So with this, it is we can make it in the form of a laddu or a ball, which is about 100 grams of this energy food. The laddu will be sufficient to provide the required amount of the energy as well as the protein requirements for the entire body. In fact, they were very much acclaimed by the UNESCO for addressing the above two issues. But of course, now protein deficiency has, I think, considerably come down in the country. The reasons could be we are going more towards the non-vegetarian foods, mainly the broiler chicken introduction. The protein deficiency has been much addressed. But otherwise, it is only the pulses which supply the protein, which contributes for the protein, and the cereal part, that is wheat flour, whatever we are taking, will supplement the requirements of the energy part of it. So that is how this energy food was meeting the requirements of both. The CF, that's why this contribution was very much appreciated by UNESCO in those days. In addition to that, of course, CFTR has got other contribution is about making of the Amul milk food. We all know during the earlier days, 1950s and 60s and all that, we were only getting the milk food in the form of Glaxo, which was the imported food item in those days. but for the first time, CFTR has come out with making the milk food using the buffalo milk. Because all over the world we have the cow milk, but the Indian climatic conditions is such here only we can rear and grow the buffaloes, and they give quite a good amount of the milk. The only problem or only thing with only difference with them is the fat content in them is high, and so it was not directly amenable to make it to the milk powder. It was at that time the CFTRA has made the milk food, what is called as Amul, with NDD, the National Dairy Development Board has taken it up, and then they made the food for this milk powder and made it available for the people. So this was also one of the greatest contributions of CFTR. In addition, of course, many, which I'm not going to deal with now. Now, the present agenda for my discussion is only about the World Food Day, what is its importance and then its theme, and the food sector, the Indian scenario and demography. Then the technological intervention, how the technology will solve the problems of the hunger or the malnutrition. See, as I said earlier also about the hunger, the incessant and intensive need of the man to satiate the biological requirement of hunger by consuming the food has resulted in the multifarious activities of the processing of the foods. The food as it is available, that is after the harvesting of the food materials or food agro materials, they are not ready for human consumption. So this has to undergo a number of, there could be, I don't exactly say as a large number of operations, but at least a minimum number of operations are required. Maybe it is, I think, the God's desire. If everything is given in a ready to eat form, nobody would remember it. So God has made it slightly complicated by making a bounty of nature to us with a large number of food materials available, but they need a certain amount of the processing, and then only it can satiate the hunger. Then after the food processing has evolved. Initially, it was a traditional art at a very small scale into the processing industry, in which the machine and equipment requirements are very much required, and they are very typical in nature. Otherwise, food processing, what we call as cooking, has been known to the man, I think, for maybe at least some 10,000 years back, or so, maybe for the first time when the rice was domesticated in China, and it could be later also. I'm not very much sure about it, but that food processing has evolved from its traditional cooking practice into industrial ventures. First of all, it has gone into a very small scale processing industry, which requires quite a good number of machine and equipment. Then the industrial scale, initially from domestic scale to the small scale, and then to medium scale, and then of course there are some amount of the large scale industries are there, where a huge number of tons of food materials are processed per day. Like even I think processing of few hundreds of tons of wheat or rice, processed industries are available. Now, I just slightly would like to develop on the topic on today's topic. The Food and Agriculture Organization has declared in 1945 the 16th October as the World Food Day. The idea of calling it as the World Food, the idea of declaring the World Food Day is only to sensitize to the world on the need of the food and to make the universe virtually hunger free. Because mainly to address the hunger issues for the vulnerable people of the society, which are mostly prevalent in Africa and also to some considerable extent, I think, in Asian continents. So hunger is something which is the culprit of the many evils in the society. I have two opinions. It is both a culprit as well as a boon. Because if there is no hunger, probably I think nobody would have bothered to do anything. Everybody would have been happily sitting at home because there is no hunger at all. In a way, hunger is a driving force, of course, for the human activities and then the economic development and all that. But from the other point of view, hunger is mainly the culprit for many evils in the society also. Here I would like to mention about a Nobel Prize given to an agricultural scientist, Dr. Norman Borlaug, an agricultural scientist from USA. He got a Nobel Prize in 1970 for this. You know, the Nobel Prizes are not given for agriculture. Nobel Prize is given, I think, classical areas like chemistry, physics, medicine, literature, and peace. These are the five main areas. Of course, subsequently, economics was also added. Then, why an agricultural scientist was given the Nobel Peace Prize was the Nobel Committee felt that enough food is made available, automatically peace also prevails in the society. The many evils of the society are all cropping up because of lack of food security and lack of food, which results in the hunger. And to satiate the hunger, man goes to any extent, killing the other man also to satiate his hunger. So the peace can only prevail upon only when sufficient amount of food is made available. That is one of the major reasons what the Nobel Committee felt, and adored Dr. Norman Borlaug with the Peace Prize, Nobel Peace Prize. And FAO has been giving the themes every year, which are related to about the production issues, about the water consumption, about the environmental protection. Like this, they have been giving, I think, for the last so many years. Now, this year's theme is leave no one behind. And of course, as we feel that the topic what was chosen for this year is very pertinent at a time like this after the pandemic, when quite a good number of the people are suffering for want of food. This problem may not be really understood by us. By us means by those who are living in India. Because very fortunately, we have not really felt the shortage of the food even during the COVID coronavirus days also. That is during 2020 and 21 also. We are fortunate, but there are many countries in the world which have suffered a lot for want of food. That is the non-availability of the food materials. So the idea of giving this is the topic of today is leave no one behind. That means we have food, but there are certain vulnerable people who are who do not have the privilege to have all the 3 square meals or 2 square meals, or even at least 1 square meal a day. Means that the people who are having that have to have a passion for compassion towards the have-nots. So here they leave no one behind and they leave everyone to bind. That means we have to bring all the people together into the same network of having the food security. So it is possible. Also, we need to have a better production, better nutrition, better environment, which ultimately leads to a better life. This is what is expected of with this today's this year's World Food Day. Here I just present one. This is the victims of the Great Famine in India in 1878. You know, before 1950s, India was almost a land of famines, but a good number of famines were there even earlier in 17th century and 18th century and all that. The one I am showing now here is about the victims of the Great Famine in India in 1878, and the Bengal famine of 1943. It's a very notorious thing. It has resulted in an estimated death of something like around 2.1 to 3.8 million people have perished during this period. This was, of course, this relates to this Bengal really means the British Bengal, which also includes our present West Bengal, and then the East Bengal are what Bangladesh of today, and to a great extent of the Orissa. All this part put together, what we call it as the British Bengal. In that, the famine was there, and quite a good number of people have lost their lives. So this all has taught us the lessons that how best we can, we should go about for addressing the hunger. If we see the demography of India and then the people versus the food grains production. Now you see from 1950 onwards till 2020, till 2020, you see the 1950s, we had a population something like around 36 crores, which I have shown here. And then until 2021-22, of course, our present population is around whatever I have shown here has also been increasing. It is 1,411,000,000, etc. That is something like around, not presently, something like around 144 crores is the present population. So I only touch upon the 1950 versus 2022. 1950s, we had a population of around 36 crores, and today our population is something like around 144 crores. And if you see the food grains production, I'm talking about food grains, which does not include the other like horticultural produce, animal husbandry, fisheries, oil seeds. These things are not considered. Mainly the food grains, that is cereals and pulses. You see that it was something like around 50.8, that's around 51 million tons of the food grains were produced during the 1950-51, which has now gone up to a staggering figure of 315.72 million tons during 2021-22. That is the 2022. This table shows us the population has increased by 4 times from 1950 to 2022. That is, the 36 million population, 36 crore population has gone to 144 crore population. Population increased around 4 times. But whereas the food grains production was, it has increased from 51 million tons, so 315.7 million tons, which is almost 6 times produced. That means the population increase was about 4 times, but our food grains production was about 6 times. All this was made possible by the vision of the late Prime Minister, the then Prime Minister of India. Mainly, it came with the first 5-year plan. Our first 5-year plan, which was made from 1951 to 56, the major stress was given on agriculture, and they also called it as the Green Revolution. It was taken up at that time under the visionary leadership of Professor M.S. Swaminathan by the ICR, Indian Council of Agricultural Research, the main nodal agency, and under the able leadership of Professor M.S. Swaminathan, the Green Revolution was taken up. There are many other people are also there. Of course, we have our own late Professor Dr. M.B. Rao, who was also the ex-vice chancellor of Angarao, and earlier he was also the deputy director general of ICR and all that. He's mainly the wheat man. So, with the Green Revolution, in those days, our main campaign was on the grow more. That means you have to produce more amount of more food production. That was the main concern at that time. With this, now our food production has come up from 50.8 million tons to around 315.7 million. That is a 6 times increase in the food production we could achieve. The Grow More campaign. Now, from the demographic point of view, let us see the national scenario in the food requirements. So as I have already mentioned here, the Indian population is alarming and is at around 1.4 billion, that is 144 crores. This we already say. But considering on an average, every human being consumes about 500 grams of the food grains per day. I'm going to again stress upon it. Talk only about the 500 grams of food grains. It does not. He may take quite a good amount of water. He may take milk. He may also take some of the fats. He may take fruits, vegetables, maybe animal husbandry products, fishery. All these things are good. I'm not talking about the cereals and pulses. On an average, a human being consumes something like around 500 grams, so half a kg of food per day. So, considering 365 days, because we take food every day, considering all the 365 days and 1.4 billion people at the rate of half a kg per day, if we calculate, it would work out to something like around 263 million tons of food grains are required to feed all our population of 1.4 billion. We require only 263 billion tons of the food grains are required to feed our 1.4 billion population. But what is reality? But the Indian food grain production is around 316 million tons, which is significantly more than what is required. Obviously, isn't it? When you require only 260 million tons, we are producing 316 million tons. We are producing. So obviously, it indicates that there should not be any hunger in the country. There should not be any hunger. There should not be any hungry people at all in the country. But that's not the case. Very unfortunately, today we have 15.5% of our population is suffering from hunger, which is a very paradoxical thing. And once we have got such a food grains production is much more than what is required, maybe something like around 20% also we are producing more, but still 15.5% of our population is suffering from hunger, which is paradoxical. In fact, there was a time when there was even hunger, that is starvation deaths also. Most of our young students may not be knowing it. During 1970, I think it would be 1980s, I think. Even particularly the district of Kalahandi in Orissa, they have reported the starvation deaths also in those days. For do properly technology. Now, what we are talking about is the food grains that are produced in the field. But what is the amount of these food grains that are made available for the people? So this process goes through a large number of pre-harvesting as well as the post-harvesting protocols, and then it comes for the food. So the lacuna here is probably the transportation of the safe food materials for the people to consume, and that is where actually we are facing a paradoxical situation of food. We have a production high, but the food is not available. This, of course, most of food technology students they know. This is the application of food technology in a simple terms is defined as application of the food science in the manufacture of food products by using various modern gadgets, which of course is translates into actually food engineering. But at the same time, the food products are safe, wholesome, nutritious, and then it should be stable. When I'm defining the food technology as well, that it encompasses food science, food technology, food engineering, and also the food technology transfer and the food industrial activities. So now the demand for the food which comes from one is the increasing population, and the other one is in the changes in the social pattern of the food. And that is the convenience in the transportation and handling is a very crucial requirement of the food processing. It is not only the question of production, but after producing it, how the food is transported, and how the food materials are made in a convenient form to be consumed by the human beings. So convenience in transportation and handling is a very crucial requirement for, hello? Am I audible? The conveyance and transportation and handling is a very crucial requirement of the food processing sector. So, hello, yes? Hello?
Sir, it is audible, sir.
Okay. Okay. So, Food and Agricultural Organization has categorized the whole of the food processing operation into primary processing, secondary processing, and tertiary processing. So here, the primary processing, the secondary processing, and tertiary processing. The agricultural, whatever is produced on the field, after harvesting it, then we go for some amount of the primary processing operations, which include after the harvest, that is the harvesting, and then the cleaning of the grains, then removing all the dust, dirt and stuff, etc. Then drying them to a very reasonable extent, then putting all the grains into the bags for transportation, and then transporting them to the safe grounds. These are all the operations that are taken up at the primary processing level. Then at the secondary processing level, what we mean by secondary processing here is, that is, say something like the milling operation. If you take rice, for example, paddy is made into the rice, that is the rice milling, or if it is a wheat, it is a wheat milling to make into the wheat curds, that is wheat available as it is. This is all is called as in the secondary processing. What we do is, after getting the paddy, we make it into a rice. After getting the wheat, we make it into a flour, either make it into atta, that is atta or suji or semolina, whatever it is there. Or if it is fruits, for example, fruits are made into the pulp, and then either it can go to the consumer directly, or it goes for further processing, what we call it as a tertiary processing. As I mentioned in the last part, primary processing, secondary processing, and then the tertiary processing. The tertiary processing, what we do is, the materials are processed to an extent where they are ready for consumption, and that is the reason why it can directly go for the consumer. I put it as an urban class, it need not urban class, it could be anybody. That is the tertiary, that is after the, for example, if you take the rice flour or rice oil, this is all made. Then making of it, if it is a wheat, we made the wheat flour or suji, samalina. Then we go to the tertiary processing, like making of the bakery products, making of the various types of the snack food items, etc., making of the ready-to-eat chapatis, or heat and cook food items. All these items are made after the tertiary processing level. That means in the tertiary processing, the food material is readily available for consumption. In the primary processing, it is not at all available for consumption. It only just goes for the secondary processing, where, for example, when you are making it a rice can also directly be consumed by the consumers in the form of cooked rice. But in the tertiary processing products, it goes directly for human consumption. So now now the secondary and tertiary processing operations actually constitute a major part of food technology. In fact, the earlier part of it, that is the primary processing, more or less like relates with the agricultural practice or the pre-harvesting protocol. More is done by the agricultural engineers or agricultural scientists. The secondary and tertiary processing operation, they constitute major part of food technology. They include a number of unit operations and then of course a few unit processes. Normally unit processes are not much taken up in processing, but quite a good number of unit operations are taken up. It is for separation operations, mixing operations, and separations by paste change, without paste change. All these kinds of quite a good number of unit operations are taken up here, and quite a good number of the mechanical operations like after drying it is grinding, sieving, sifting, etc. These are all they all constitute the food technology. I briefly touch upon some of they are both traditional, the various food processing methods. They are both traditional as well as the modern operations. The first and the foremost operation which probably man knew was about the salting. This, if you want to preserve the food over a period of time, either you go for the salting or pickling. Salting mainly when excess amount of the meat was available, excess amount of the fish were available, they were put into this, they were all preserved with the salt. Then we have the pickling operation. Pickling operation, it could be either in the form of acid pickling or the oil pickling. Fermentation is also a unit operation where the food materials are, it also helps in preservation as well as in processing of it. Then we have the roasting and grinding. Most of the food grains are subjected to the roasting and grinding to make quite a good number of our traditional foods as well as the modern foods. Then we have the drying and dehydration, which is again man knew from quite a time immemorial for preservation of the foods by drying or by removing the moisture. Drying, of course, applies for removal of any, it need not be only water, it could be in the removal of any solvents and all that also what we call as a drying operations in classically chemical engineering. But if you talk in food technology, our idea of drying is only the dehydration. That is removal of moisture from the food materials so that the food material is not affected or is not contaminated by the microorganisms, leading to the spoilage of the foods or leading to the poisoning of the foods or leading to development of the toxicity in the foods. So by reducing the moisture content, that is what we call it as a water activity, the survival rate of the microorganisms is considerably reduced. So that helps actually, preservation of food materials. Again, freezing is one operation. Freezing are well as the cold storage. These operations, what we do in this case is the food materials are cold or cooled to such an extent that in the case of freezing, they go up to the freezing levels. In the cold storage, it remains, of course, for quite a good number of days. But the freezing keeps them for quite a more number of days. Then we have the process of canning. Canning is the one operation just come into existence, I think, as early as 19th century, 1812 or something like that, during the Alexander time. They wanted to go for preservation of the food and transport them from the soldiers. Then that time, Nicholas, I forgot his name, he has found out, he has developed the canning process. But of course, at that time, the idea of canning process was only to make the foods stay for a longer period of time by aseptically filling them into the containers. They did not bother much about the energy consumption, etc. At that time, when energy was not issue at all. Then the other method of doing it is by means of the packing. Which helps in preservation of the foods. That is, it could be either simple packaging and wrapping, or it could be an aseptic packaging. This aseptic packaging comes in contrast to the canning. Last item I've shown as a canning, where we use the heating and then packaging them aseptically into the cans. That's why it's called as a canning process. But in case of aseptic packaging, what to do is that easy also, and fill the sterile food materials, particularly the fruit juices and fruit pulps, etc., for the aseptic packaging, so that the material remains for quite longer amount of time. Here, the biggest advantage of aseptic packaging, which has come, I think, in 1960s also, is a quite going away from the canning process where the tin metal was used for making the cans. But whereas in the case of aseptic packaging, that problem was not there. And mostly the tins were also of the order of around 1 kg or so. They call it as A2.5 size and all that. But in the case of aseptic packaging is all done by means of the aseptically hygienic bags. Then we have the modified atmospheric packaging. So that means some materials are kept or stored by modifying that is, if you have the oxygen is a culprit for the material to get spoiled. So what to do is that we remove the oxygen and then we fill it up with carbon dioxide and other nitrogen filling, etc., so that the materials can be kept over long. That's what is called as the atmosphere is modified. That's what is called as modified atmospheric packaging. Then we have controlled atmospheric packaging. It's also almost similar to that. It's more like cooling process. We have the reefer containers are there, where food materials are transported from one city to other city or from one state to other in a very controlled atmospheric packaging way. The container itself maintains as a temperature, that is a cooled temperature, humidity, and also the oxygen content. That's oxygen mostly removed and put carbon dioxide and nitrogen to that place. Then we have also got this, the other methods by means of the chemical preservations. The chemical preservations are these materials, whatever I mentioned here as the potassium metabisulfite or benzoate, and then quite a good number of these acids like citric acid and all these acetic acid are all used. They are all chemical preservatives, but they are considered to be reasonably safe. As a gas, they are considered to be reasonably safe. And then we have the natural preservation methods by means of the salt, sugar, spices, and fermentation. Here, there is no limit for addition of these things as per the taste. If you put any amount of the salt, the material can be preserved, but it cannot be consumed by the consumer later on because it's very salty. Same is going to sugar and the spices and then the fermentation processes. So most of these technologies require one or more unit operations for making the final product. And hence, the machinery and equipment requirements are those related to that process. So like that, we need to go, that is most of the engineering operations will come here. So this slide I mainly presented because it's mainly my own feeling also. The food processing per se has not changed over the centuries. To take rice, for example, rice we are eating always, cooking, and then we are eating the rice or pulses, or it could be even the fruits and vegetables. What we are doing is that we are cooking and then we are eating them. That's why food processing per se has not changed over the centuries. But what has changed in the recent years is its processing methods, where our main concern was the convenience in preparation, conveniently packaging them, and conveniently transporting them. And these issues have been updated. Otherwise, the processing method is the same as what it has been there even some centuries earlier also, as I was telling about the rice cooking. I just take this as an example of rice. Rice cooking consumption pattern, if you take it, rice was domesticated as early as 10,000 years back. That's almost like around 8,000 BC or so. in China. But its processing pattern has changed over the time. So first what we knew was only cooking the rice in a vessel. It could be an earthen vessel or a simple small metallic vessels in which the rice was cooked. But subsequently what happened is we have gone for a simple steam rice cooker. That is a rice cooker. What is with the steam rice cooker has come up. It has again given place to, because in the steam rice cooker also again we are putting the rice in a cooker and then putting it on a gas stove or electric stove. After cooking it needs to stop. Then we have gone a step further. Then we have gone for auto electric cookers. So here what it does is this cooks and then stops automatically the cooking process once the cooking is over. Then we have also come up with another product called as a semi-cooked rice. That is, this rice is almost cooked to quite a considerable amount of extent, so that with a small amount of processing, it can be consumed. What we call it as heat and eat. That is HEC products. Heat and semi-cooked rice products have come up. Then we have also got the ready-to-eat RTE rice foods. The RTE rice foods include something like making up all these chogoris and other traditional foods which we can readily consume. So now if you see in the overall process from the left to the right side, if you see, the rice is eaten in the same form. The purpose of taking the rice is only to supply the energy requirement or calorie requirement of the body as a cereal. And its cooking process has also not changed. Everywhere the starch in the rice is to be gelatinized to be compatible for the human body for human consumption. So this part of it has not changed. But what has changed as we are moving from left to the right is a large amount of machinery, equipment, and automation, and various packaging techniques, etc., have come in, so that the rice cooking has transformed from a simple traditional cooking in a rice cooker to the ready to the semi-cooked rice foods as well as the ready to eat rice foods. We have packaged rice food, that is pulao and biryanis are also available readily, which you can ready to eat. Simply you have to either put in a the bag in a hot water or put it in a microwave oven, and then what we call as a retorte pouch packing technology are applied for making the rice packets. So again, I take the example of rice. If you take the rice, it has gone to the parboiled rice. Parboiled rice mainly we prefer to make it because to avoid the losses during the milling process. The rice has gone to parboiled rice. Then we have the puffed rice, what we call as muri, and then we have the parched rice, what we call is atukulu. They are all ready to eat, whether it is marmaladu or atukulu. They are ready to just to put into water, wash it, and then maybe put you can milk and then eat the atukulu parched rice. What we have called it mostly as a breakfast cereal foods that have come from Kellogg's and all that is already known to us maybe some centuries back. Then we have various rice formulations have been made with that. Then the rice is also made into a rice suji, with which you can go to wine, etc. Then we have gone to the rice flour. Then we have gone to a large number of the rice snack foods, snack items from that. Then we can also go for the beverages, and the rice is also used for making the alcohol production. So these are all the various products made from the rice. But my intention in showing the earlier slide was only to show that the food technology, how it is involved, or rather the food engineering, how it is involved in transforming a traditional cooking process into a modern, convenient, easily transportable products and easily consumable products. It's not only easily transportable, but it is also for consumption. Also, it should be very easy. This is what I want to highlight upon. Now, when it comes to mitigating the problem of the food non-availability or to ensure the food security, we need to educate the people on the healthy food habits. The one thing is stop eating casually, eat consciously. There are many kinds of the foods we take where many times we eat actually food actually as casually. It's not consciously. So the best policy is never take or don't take a food unless you are hungry. But many times we eat it because it is very pleasant or very tantalizing to eat. And other thing is, food per se itself will not give you any nutrition. So here we say that no food is a miracle food. The paradox is here, there are around 830 million hungry people are there all over the world. The figure could be even more. I'm not very sure about this figure. As on today, whatever the reports are there, we have around 830 million people are hungry all over the world. And at the same time, there are about 670 million people are obese. Obesity has come because of excess consumption of food or over nutritious foods or over proteinaceous foods or over calorie foods. And all that has come. When once we have on one side 830 million hungry mouths are there, there are around 670 million people are there who are obese. And that it has also gone to the child obesity also. Quite a good number of children are also getting obese over the period of time, mainly because of the sedentary life we have. Then, lastly, educating the people with respect to the clean and good food habits would help processing industries. And so the people have got already the interest, inclination, and the attitude towards taking up only the clean and good foods. The children and youth should be taught from childhood about the consumption of locally available foods. This is one very, very important point to be touched upon, particularly on a World Food Day when we are thinking about the food security. The first and the foremost thing is we should consume always whatever is locally available because the God's creation is such. He has been kind enough to make all nutritious things which are required as per our climatic conditions. So many times what we do that we like to take a pizza, we like to take a food which has come up from abroad. I'm not against these processed foods because as a food technologist, my intention and the business itself is to promote the food products. But at the same time, as a human being, that's why here I say only educating the people on healthy food habits if you come to that. From the childhood onwards, the consumption of the locally available foods. For example, you see, we don't like to take somebody is well is not well. We prefer to go for an apple rather than going for a banana. Banana, which is a miraculous fruit, which takes care of most of our nutritional as well as the calorie requirements. At the expense of that, I'm not telling apple is foreign, but apple is still. But we are going for, I think, some other food materials. You go to any supermarkets, any of the